Good evening. What is up, Razorback Nation? We are back here with Hogs on the Hill, your go-to podcast for in-depth dive into all things Arkansas sports. We are brought to you by Razor Pigs. Looking good never felt so fun. Razor Pigs is the Arkansas-born brand, bringing some serious style to the golf course, tailgate, and everywhere in between. From high-quality polos to head-turning hats, they've got what you need to rep the natural state with pride. Found it right here at home and run by a Razorback 11 family. Razor Pigs is where comfort meets cool. So go hog wild. Shop Razor Pigs today at razorpigs.us. And what a great time it is in Arkansas. We're just 2 days away from Arkansas getting ready to have their first game in Omaha. They're taking on LSU, another, one of those conference matchups that we're seeing yet again in the postseason. And we're going to break down all this. And to help us do that, we have a friend of the show, Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered, joining us. He is in Omaha, boots on the ground, and he's going to be joining us to talk about this matchup and break down what this looks like for Arkansas and LSU. Welcome in, Chris. How's it going?
Guys, what's going on? Caleb, Austin, great to see you. Yeah, we're in Omaha. Long 12-hour drive or so yesterday from Nashville. Got in late last night, and it's been a great first day. The practice day, got to see the Hawgs and the Tigers on the practice field. I was telling you guys off air, I've been linking up with a lot of great fans, a lot of great local media, a lot of great Arkansas folks. So excited, man. Yeah, this is the best time of year. It only gets bigger from here, right? The games only get more intense. It's for the ultimate prize. And if you've never been to Omaha, never been to the College World Series, it's just my second year, but first time obviously ever. Last year actually was my first ever College World Series in person. This year, my first time ever with Arkansas and LSU as participants. So it feels like my first time all over again. So yeah, really excited to break it down and talk about it with you guys.
Yeah, so, you mentioned it, it's a really cool environment. So, what are the vibes and just the atmosphere like up there? I know you saw there, I saw clips and stuff, you already have it. There's not even been a game played. You're 2 days away from the first game. Yet you have kids and fans all over watching these practices, getting these guys autographs and things like that. So, kind of what is it like up there, with just all the fans and the environment?
It's just pure electricity. The energy, and they're still rolling in, right? Arkansas and LSU fans alike, and there's 6 other great teams and fan bases that are here. But the energy from Arkansas and LSU fans to this point is what you'd expect, right? I mean, it's pandemonium. They're taking over the city. I mean, this city's going to get painted with Arkansas and LSU colors alike, and the tailgating is going to be electric. I mean, leading up to Saturday, guys, I'm fully expecting Saturday to be like a football game day kind of atmosphere with all the food being cooked and the smell of bourbon in the air and all kinds of chants. And we're going to hear, the calling of the Hogs. We'll hear Tigers from the LSU fans. Like, it's going to be awesome. But, what's really cool about this place is you have all these fan bases that come together, but also so many people in the local community of Omaha, that people that just love baseball, love college baseball, love the game. And I think that's the coolest and most rewarding part, is being surrounded by like-minded people that love the sport and love the game. And I remember last year, guys, I can't even tell you what game it was, but I don't think it was an SEC game, or maybe it was, but I was walking around the stadium. I remember I sat down in the outfield, and it was kind of like that dusk time of night. And it was like a nostalgic feeling where I felt like I was in the middle of a baseball movie. I know that sounds weird, but it was so cool, man. It was just like you're in the most intense environment in all of college baseball. Like, this is for everything. Your season's on the line, yet there's such a comforting feeling of it's just kids playing ball. It's just guys playing baseball and doing what you love, and it's what you grew up dreaming to do. And so I'm sure, again, I was a lot more relaxed than the guys actually on the field participating in the game. But it is a really, really cool event. The fans are the real winners of the event. And certainly, again, I'm just excited to see the way Arkansas and LSU fans bring the energy. Because to this point, Jell-O shots are already being consumed down at Rocco's. The fans are already out and about in Omaha Baseball Village and all around the stadium. They were there watching the practices and everything. And we got to go out there as well and be on the field. And it's really cool, man. And the energy, you can already feel it. It's obviously only going to pick up throughout the weekend.
Yeah, man, you kind of touched on it a little bit. There was I wrote a piece for Razorbackers yesterday, I think, where I kind of like stretched a little bit of what Jay Johnson said in a podcast about how, come Saturday, the stadium is going to be purple. And I'm like, it's going to be purple and red. Arkansas is, I wouldn't say they travel as good as LSU fans. They're pretty good, but it's going to be pretty much half and half. But yeah, just listening to him a little bit more, like the dude is like all class. And I'm just kind of like wondering, what's your experience with him? And like, have you ever got to talk to him or, anything like that? Or what do you think about this LSU ball club?
So I've never really got to sit down and talk to Jay Johnson one-on-one. I have a really, really good friend of mine that's got a tight relationship with Jay, and he's definitely and talking to LSU folks, talking to some of the players and parents of players, he's a very, no-nonsense kind of guy. Like one of his heroes is Nick Saban, right? Somebody he looks up to. So he kind of carries that mentality, that mantra. And I think what he was saying, I don't think it was obviously taking a shot at Arkansas folks, but I think he knows LSU fans are going to show up and show out, and he's certainly right. This LSU ball club, though, man, yeah, I mean, listen, I think Jay Johnson is one of the best in the game. You go back to his time at Arizona, you look at what he's done at LSU to this point, and also, too, let's call it for what it is. The backing at LSU is as good as you're going to get. It's really better probably than you're going to get anywhere else from an NIL standpoint, from a fan support standpoint. You play in one of the best ballparks in the country. But this LSU club specifically, really good on the bump. Cade Anderson, Anthony Einson, I think as a 1-2 punch is as good as you're going to find in college baseball. I think it's the best in college baseball right now. Having a guy like Case and Evans to turn to in game 3, if that's who you turn to, is a pretty good option. Solid pitching depth. I wouldn't call it great pitching depth, but very solid pitching depth. A lot of stuff in that rotation and that pitching staff, right? It's been inconsistent at times. It hasn't been perfect, but a lot of stuff in that staff. Offensively for LSU is what controls their ceiling and will inevitably control how far this team goes, right? And that's what we've seen in the postseason. Lost that one game to Little Rock, had the hiccup, but outside of that, the offense has been electric. I mean, they've been picking on everybody they faced. I think they're scoring over 10 runs per game. But I've said all season, the thing that scares me about LSU is that at times the offense can go cold. And when they go cold, they go really, really cold. So if they can continue to swing it the way they have, and granted, listen, look at the pitching staffs they faced, West Virginia and the Supers, it's going to be nothing like an Arkansas or nothing like some of the other arms they will see in this tournament. But, I mean, it's a really, really good club. It's one of the most complete clubs right there with an Arkansas. But I think the offense for them controls the ceiling. They've had some good times of late. Monster Milam is doing what he does in the postseason. Bear Jones had really nice at-bats last weekend, and he was in a slump. Feels like he might be coming out of that. Derek Curiel's the table setter at the top that – is for my money's worth the best freshman in college baseball, one of the best at least. I know there's some others that have something to say about that, but they've got guys that can hurt you up into the lineup, but I don't know. I don't think it's as complete a lineup as, say, in Arkansas 1 through 9, but it's still really, really good. But, when you're hot, you're hot. LSU's getting hot at the right time. And, guys, it's no secret if people are watching, they've probably seen our picks at this point. Myself and my co-host of our biweekly college baseball show, we do both went LSU, but it culminates to this game on Saturday night that I think it's fair to say whoever wins that game is probably in the championship series. That's the consensus, guys, talking to LSU and Arkansas folks here. I mean, that's when you talk about that game Saturday night, a lot of them have said this is the national championship. That's kind of the feeling around here. Now, will it be? We'll see, but it's a really good LSU club. They're here for a reason, one of the best in the country, a team I've been really high on all season, and seems like they're clicking at the right time.
Yeah. And that's one thing I wanted to hit on. You flip over to Arkansas, you mentioned guys being hot. One of the guys here recently, you got to look at when you're thinking about this matchup, specifically the game Saturday. Zach Root, his performances in regionals and super regionals, it's like it seems like he is peaking or he's finding his stuff at the right time coming into this game. What do you think about his performances he had in the regional and super regional going into this matchup and carrying that positive momentum over into a game of, this magnitude?
Yeah, he's been great in the postseason. I mean, definitely coming into his own. Been really good all year. He was shaky at times. I love the quote he had early in the season where he essentially said that people don't come out to watch me only go 4 innings. I think he knew, right? He wasn't pitching his best. I mean, guys, let's also point out we saw this series already, right? We saw Cade Anderson against Zach Root earlier this season. Granted, it was in Alex Box, but we've seen these two teams go at it. I'd expect a very similar game 1, guys, where it's going to be a low-scoring pitching battle. I would expect Zach Root to pitch well. Who do I trust more? I think I may trust Cade Anderson just a little bit more. But Zach Root's been very, very good. I mean, when the changeup is on, man, he's going to be really difficult to hit. And this is an LSU lineup that, guys, a lot of their struggles this season have come against lefties. So, I mean, Zach Root's one of the best in the game. Cade Anderson's one of the best in the game. It's a battle of two of the best, I think the two best left-handed pitchers in college baseball. It's going to be a blast. As a southpaw myself, I can't wait to watch these two dudes do battle. And, yeah, I mean, I think if you're an Arkansas fan, and I think LSU feels the same with their guy, but if you're an Arkansas fan, you got to feel really good about what Zach Root has shown you, especially that last outing against Tennessee where he was spectacular. So, again, for me, the changeup is the key pitch. It's the great equalizer. He's obviously got everything else. If the changeup is working, could be a really long night for LSU. And, again, I just can't wait to watch him toe the rubber on Saturday.
And so,
Yep.
Thinking about that, and the thing is, I feel like from an Arkansas standpoint, it could be the same thing from an LSU standpoint, looking at it, in this first game here. Would you almost classify for both these teams is this game one for both teams, thinking about the pitching, this is one of those win at all cost games. You use whoever you need to win that first game. You have 2 days rest before the next game on Monday. So, looking at both squads, say Root comes out, first couple innings shaky. You're not sure if you want to kind of give him the leash to try to work out of something. You want to make sure you can secure a game one. Is this from your perspective, a win at all costs, use whoever you need to type of game for both these teams?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's really important to get off to 1-0. Again, we talked about it, guys. And I will say this. We actually had this conversation today, though, that whoever the loser is, who's more well-equipped to come out of the loser's bracket and make a run at going to the finals. And I think it would be Arkansas. I think they're a little deeper on the mound. So I think if they had to come back and, they win 2 and they get LSU and had to beat them twice, I think they would be more well-equipped to do that than like if LSU went down 0-1. But I think it is a win at all costs, yes. You have to approach it that way. And you talked about like Zach Root, like if he's struggling or if he's laboring, I think that's all situational, right? What are you going to do offensively? I mean, you got a team, you got a lineup that you feel like as good as Cade Anderson is, as good as that pitching staff for LSU is, you got a lineup you feel like can bail you out a little bit. Like if the offense has got to pick you up, you feel like they can do that. I mean, you can just go name by name by name by name. It's not just the Aloy brothers or Iredale or Kojal or whatever. It's a lot of different guys. So, I just think it's situational. I think it's case by case. But I don't think you're going in it like it's a different format than say like a regional. I just don't think you're going into this with, well, how can we conserve arms and we got to save this guy for this. And, you're going to be smart. There's going to be some strategy, but I think you're selling out to win Saturday night. Like whatever you got to do, we'll worry about Monday on Monday within reason. Again, you're not doing anything silly to put yourself behind the 8 ball, but yeah, you're selling out to win because I think that 1-0 spot is it's a pathway paved with gold. It's taking the high road to get there, and you'd rather be the team that if you take care of your business, like you'd rather be the team that they got to come beat you twice to get there than be on the other side of that. So I think you got to win Saturday night.
So going on staying with pitching, the cool thing about this the last couple of weeks is Arkansas hasn't had to use a whole lot of arms either. They kind of did that on Thursday on the second game against Tennessee, but that was just they were throwing everything they had at them just so they could get that win. They weren't, it wasn't because necessarily Wood was doing bad, but and he kind of pulled them a little earlier than what Dave Van Horn usually does. But they're like. Landon Beitelcheese, he didn't throw this weekend. And then I don't think he threw a lot against in the regional rounds, and he didn't throw anything in the SEC tournament. So he's kind of been just sitting there, not doing a whole lot, and a lot of the arms have. Do you think that's a benefit going into the College World Series, or do you think that's more like they might be rusty, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's interesting, Austin. It's because I was a pitcher when I played, and it's one of those things where, like, yeah, it's good to be fresh. Sometimes you can almost be too fresh, if that makes sense. There's days where you go out there where the arm is so fresh, you're kind of like, it's good to be – there's a difference between being sore and being hurting, obviously, and it's sometimes good to be a little sore in the right places where it's almost like that muscle memory still kind of ingrained. And these guys have been throwing live BPs and bullpens. It's not like he's just been sitting there for 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever waiting to toe the rubber again. But it is different, right? So, I look at it. I think it's a benefit. I do. I think it's a benefit. But, there could be some rust associated. But, yeah, Arkansas is going to come in fresh. I mean, you mentioned Beitelcheese. They've got, Coyle, Carter, McIntyre, Jimenez, Fouch. There's so many different dudes that can hurt you. Ben Bybee, another one that I really like watching. I mean, it's just there's so many different guys. So I think Dave Van Horn and that staff will have a really good plan to roll those guys out there and attack this LSU lineup. And, I mean, I would imagine Arkansas is going to have a lot of confidence that they can do that. So, yeah, I mean, I think, again, to answer the question, I think it's a positive, but I'd keep an eye on it. I wonder when a Vital Cheese pitches. Because, again, I just don't think like you're worrying about game 3 necessarily as far out as game 3 will be potentially. Like, for example, on the LSU side, like Kason Evans has been kind of their number 3 guy. But if Kason Evans can come in the 7th inning or 8th inning and help them win the ball game Saturday night, I think he's coming in. Like, I really think it's that important to go up 1-0. So I think you're going to see both sides throw their absolute best available. And again, worry about Monday and worry about the next days when those days get there.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, we've already seen this before. I just glanced back at, the box score from that first game where you did have Root versus Anderson. And I mean, if you look at it, pretty similar stats across the board for those guys. I mean, Root goes 6 innings in that game. Anderson goes 5 2/3, 5 hits allowed for Root, 7 for Anderson. 109 pitches, obviously for him. The score is 5-4 in this one. Low scoring game. These guys are at prime time hitting and pitching to the capabilities they have. And like you said, I would be willing to bet you're probably going to see a similar game to what you saw in this one. And so I'm interested to see what, like you said, how's the hitting going in this one? Because, we've seen Arkansas at times, their bats, falter a little bit. And, traditionally Arkansas, been known for having the long ball. And this year you've seen a little bit more small ball play, and that's been, up and down at times. So, looking at going into this this matchup based off regional and supers, you think this team, a guy like, Davlon, that's one of the best leadoffs in the country, and, some of those other guys throughout this lineup, do you think they can continue that type of play that they've had this season as far as the small ball ability, putting the ball in play? Because as we all know, Charles Schwab is a deep ballpark. You're gonna have to really, get bat to ball to put one over the fence there.
Yeah, and guys, the wind was blowing in today too. So especially if you get days like today, you're gonna have to utilize gap to gap, double them to death, small ball. You mentioned the first game too when these two teams played. I think it's going to be a similar type of game. I think a 4-3, 5-4. Maybe it gets up to a 6-5. I'd be really surprised if this game was a high-scoring affair, even after the starters come out. It feels destined to come down to the wire. Somebody get a big knock in the 7th or 8th, and probably a 1, maybe 2-run ball game, and that's how it's decided. So, I think Arkansas's lineup. Listen, I don't think there's a park Arkansas can't hit him. Like I think Arkansas's lineup. And I've said it, guys, all season. I think Arkansas, you could argue, in my opinion, the most complete team in college baseball this season. I mean, I think that from the pitching staff, starting rotation, the bullpen to 1 through 9, they can beat you with some speed. They can beat you with power. They can beat you with contact. They've got guys that can just do a little bit of everything. They've got a legendary head coach. The coaching staff obviously speaks for itself. So, yes, I'm confident in Arkansas's lineup. I think I don't think there's a ballpark they can't hit in. And everybody knows the ballpark we're playing in. I think everybody gets it, that Charles Schwab is a place where it's tough to run them out. But guys, last year, I mean, the ball was flying last year. Like, you get a good wind out here, and guys are big and strong now. And don't be surprised, I think, if we see more homers than we're expecting. It just, have they switched out the balls a little bit? We've seen a lot of homers this postseason. So, no, I feel confident in this Arkansas lineup. They got guys that can beat you a multitude of ways. I think Arkansas has shown they're not afraid to run. They're not afraid to play small ball. And, I mean, guys, the keys to baseball are very simple. Pitch well, play great defense, and timely hitting. That's what it comes down to. That's what Saturday night's going to be. And, again, Arkansas's got a lineup where if you have a lapse in concentration, or if you give them an extra out, or you walk a guy, they're more than likely going to make you pay. So, LSU is going to have to be exceptional on the bump, and even at that, it's going to be really, really tough to get 27 outs without getting banged up a little bit.
Yeah, and the person that I probably like the most on in the batting order is probably Charles Davalon. He's going to be chucking the chuck. That's going to be a cool headline whenever it comes to it. But anyway, he's kind of like what you said. He does everything. He hits well. He's probably the best leadoff hitter in the country. He can hit the long ball. He can do singles. He can steal bases. He can bunt. He's kind of just like the gadget guy for this team. What do you think about this lineup? And like, I guess I don't want to like make you be a coach right now, but what do you think they could improve on, or do you think it's good the way it is? And who do you think right now is like the guy? I can give you my guess. I think it's probably Logan Maxwell is the hottest guy in the order right now. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, Maxwell's been really good. I mean, Davalon, like you mentioned, I feel like every time I turn on Arkansas, Davalon's doing something productive. He's putting something in the bucket every single time. I mean, guys, what would I change about the lineup? Honestly, I don't think I'd change much of anything. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's been one of the best lineups in the country. So I don't know. I don't know how much tinkering you do this time of year when, don't, trust what got you here. Like what got you here is good enough to get you here. So what's good enough to get you here is good enough to get you where you want to go, get you all the way. So everything's situational. I mean, Dave Van Horn will make the adjustments necessary against Cade Anderson, against that LSU pitching staff. But man, I don't think I'd change much of anything. And like you said, I think Davalon's that guy I look at that has been he's been the spark plug, it feels like. I mean, 14 homers on the year. You mentioned he actually leads the team or is tied for the lead in 9 stolen bases. So really does do a little bit of everything, 40-44 on base. I love this lineup. Again, I think it's the most complete lineup in this field. And, I think that could lead to some big offensive output. But I certainly, listen, guys, I was a pitcher. So I'm not going to tell Dave Van Horn how to make this lineup 1 through 9. They've been producing at a high rate. So I don't think you tinker a whole lot and you roll those guys out there and keep running with what's working. You haven't lost a postseason game yet, so why would you try to reinvent the wheel at this point?
Right.
Fair enough. Kind of one more question, one more thing, topic-wise, we'll talk about it before we let you get out of here. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit before we jumped on air here. So with coming down to it, you're in Omaha. It's going to come next weekend. The Golden Spikes Award. Arkansas is Vahiva Loy, the one finalist that's in Omaha at this time. Looking at the 3 finalists, Liam Doyle, Vahiva Loy, Lotus from Florida State. Looking at it where we're sitting today, if you had to guess, would you still be, if you're the committee looking at that, the awards this, are you still looking towards Vahiva Loy, or is it, between him and, Lotus from Florida State? What's your thoughts on that, as we're getting down the stretch and, that's going to be awarded next Saturday?
Yeah, I think first off, Liam Doyle, as great a season as he's had, he's been eliminated de facto by that outing in Fayetteville, fairly or unfairly. And guys, listen, how hard is it for a pitcher to win the Golden Spikes? Paul Skeens didn't win it. His own teammate beat him, Dylan Cruz. So, you tell me. You'd have to have such an Hagen Smith. He didn't win it either. So, it's like you'd have to have such a crazy, exceptional season as a pitcher. Liam Doyle is out. So, yeah, Vahiva Loy and Alex Lodis, it comes down to it. You look at Lodis' season. He's had a great year, guys, at 394, 17 homers, 68 RBI. Was the heart and soul of that lineup down there in Tallahassee. But, guys, we talked about this before we got on. Fairly or unfairly, I do think being here this time of year, being in Omaha, especially if Vahiva Loy plays well and shows out, it matters. It does. And I think what Aloy has done in the toughest conference in college baseball, I don't care what anybody wants to say it is, I think what he's done, I think is going to win him a lot of favor. And I do think he'll be hoisting that trophy. I really do. I think I thought it was his trophy to lose. I stand by that, feel confident on it. Lodis has had a great year, but I think it's Vahiva Aloy's trophy at the end of the day. So, again, it's kind of like winning the Heisman, guys. We're momentum and, dare I say, marketing and image and hype and that momentum behind that. You need some of that too, I think, to win those type of awards. Like you need that to win the Heisman, right? You needed to win the Golden Spikes as well. And I think Aloy being in Omaha, even if they weren't there, I'd probably still say he would win it. But I think Aloy being there probably going to be that extra push to solidify him as the winner. And again, he's had a great season. Both guys have. But at the end of the day, I think Behiva Aloy being the leader of a great Arkansas lineup and helping the Hogs get back to Omaha with the statistical numbers he put up, I think that's going to be enough to where he's going to be the one hoisting the trophy.
Yeah, you got to love to hear that. And, ironically enough, you mentioned it talking about pitchers. The last pitcher to win the Golden Spikes was Arkansas's very own Kevin Kopps back in 2021.
And he was exceptional. So it takes a pretty darn special season from a pitcher to win that award. So, yeah, it's I don't know when the next one will be. But, again, like I said, when a Paul Skeens doesn't win it, it's almost hard to believe. So.
I mean, I got one more before we let you go. So we've really talked mostly about LSU and Arkansas through this whole thing. And there's 6 other teams in the College World Series. We talked, I don't know if it was before or if we talked about it on the pod, but this has just been a crazy offseason. No one going into this College World Series was in the College World Series last year. So, looking at the other side of the bracket, just, take away UCLA and Murray State, who do you think over there has the best pathway to the finals, and, which one may be an underdog? Or, a dark horse is what I meant.
Yeah, the long shot. Dude, that top bracket is, it could go a number of ways. It's so wide open. I think the two obviously favorites in Vegas are Coastal Carolina and Oregon State. But I think Arizona is a really good club. They just took down North Carolina, who a lot of people were picking to win it all, or at least have facing maybe an Arkansas or LSU in the final, right? Louisville's a team that just nobody's talking about. Do I expect them to make a deep run? Not necessarily, but who knows? I didn't expect them to get to this point either. So I do think it's going to come down to Coastal or Oregon State. I've got Coastal actually getting to the finals. Obviously, when we're talking Arkansas and the storylines for them, the potential of an Arkansas-Oregon State rematch in the final, some poetic justice there potentially, some revenge is something you definitely think about. Coastal's been a great story, and they're a great team. As Kevin Schnall says, don't call them a Cinderella, but what they've done as a mid-major, 27 straight wins, it's like, can they keep it going, or are they due to falter at some point and falter on the biggest stage? It is, you can talk me into every team. I think the sleeper from that top bracket, though, is in Arizona. I do think Arizona in that top bracket is a sleeper. I think in the bottom bracket, I look at a UCLA. And again, I'm reaching there with the bottom bracket. I'm reaching. But UCLA and Murray State, of those two, I'd probably say UCLA for me. I think Murray State's a great story, but somebody's got to go 2 in Q. I think it's probably the Racers. But that top bracket, dude, again, you look at what Arizona did at North Carolina, responding from that game 1 loss where they just got flat out embarrassed. I think you could look at them as kind of that long shot if an unexpected is going to come out. But it definitely feels like it's a collision course between Coastal and Oregon State. I don't think you're really making a bad pick either way, whoever you pick to get out of that between those two. I went Coastal Carolina. Many others are going Oregon State. But, take your pick. Bracket 1, the top bracket is pretty wide open, as is really, guys, this entire field. We're talking LSU, Arkansas, and I want to say I am really confident that an SEC team gets to the finals. But, man, this postseason's taught us nothing's for certain. Expect the unexpected. So it's going to be a wacky College World Series, especially that top bracket, like you mentioned.
Exactly. And you kind of read my mind there when you said, talking about the storylines. I've talked to many of friends, coworkers. I was like, what kind of storybook season would it be for Arkansas and Dave Van Horn to get their first title in a rematch with Oregon State in the finals? I was about to say, exactly.
Yeah.
It might be, if that were to happen, it may be the most watched College World Series in a very, very long time, just for that reason alone.
Yeah, and I told you guys this off air, and I want to say this again because, again, our predictions have dropped, and we've got LSU winning it all, myself and my co-host Harrison Fant. I would love number one, I just want the SEC to get to the finals selfishly. Number two, I would be thrilled to be here to witness Dave Van Horn and Arkansas finally get one. I would be ecstatic to see that. So, again, Saturday night, I think, is a huge determining factor of who's in that national championship series because of the advantage of getting the leg up in a 1-0. And on the other side, I think it's either going to be Coastal or Oregon State. Who knows? But I do think the SEC is in a good position and a good spot to win another national championship. Whether it's LSU or Arkansas, for me, selfish purposes, I'll be happy. But it'd be cool, man, to see the Hogs get one. And I know the energy around Arkansas fans is, you hate to say, like, if not now, when, because there's going to be more opportunities. But Dave Van Horn's not getting any younger. Like, he's not, you know what I mean? Like, he's on the back nine of the career. He's a guy who deserves a national championship. That Arkansas program deserves one. And it'd be really cool to see him have a crack at it. And certainly, like you mentioned, if it was Oregon State, I mean, no need to provide any extra hype, or the storylines would write themselves in that one. So, like I said, man, it's just going to be a wacky, fun 2 weeks, and can't wait to see it start out playing out tomorrow.
Yeah. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. Before you get out of here, you let all the Razorback fans know where they can find you, get your content at. You're gonna, like you said, you're gonna be there for the full 2 weeks, so you're gonna have a lot of content churning out there. So let them know where they can find your content and everything that you're gonna be putting out over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, Caleb Austin, you guys are the best, and certainly we're in Omaha. Any Arkansas fans out there, you see us, holler at us. We'd love to hang out with you, take a Jello shot with you, whatever it might be. We'll be all over the tailgate, obviously, on Saturday and everything. And, again, every single day we'll be floating around, hanging out around the ballpark. And definitely come find us. We're also live on location here doing our show Monday at Rocco's 11 to 1, Wednesday at Blatt's 11 to 1. So love to have you come out, call the Hogs, have a good time. But otherwise, just check us out via social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get your content, YouTube, podcast, our website, SECUnfiltered.com, and just stay tuned. We got content bleeding out of the eyeballs, live reactions, live streams out the wazoo. It's, social media content, you name it, we're there. So, yeah, we're having a lot of fun with it, man, and hopefully we run into a lot of Hogs. Got a good feeling we're going to be running into a lot of Hogs out here in Omaha, and I'm really stoked for it.
Yeah. Awesome. Again, thank you for taking time to join the show tonight. Fantastic talking with you. Can't wait to just get the game started tomorrow and then get to Saturday night for that primetime matchup between Arkansas and LSU. But, yeah, thank you again. Enjoy time out there. We'd love to be there if we can, but, it'll be cool to see, watching it through what you guys do and all the content you put out. So, enjoy your time up there, and hopefully from our perspective, we're seeing an Arkansas win on Saturday night, headed to that winner's side. So,
yeah, it's going to be electric, guys. Can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to follow it and cover it. And Caleb and Austin, you guys are the best, man. I really appreciate y'all. Let's do it again soon for sure.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. We'll see you.
Yep, y'all take care.
Awesome. Razorback Nation, that was Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Join us live, boots on the ground in Omaha, to help preview this Arkansas-LSU matchup coming up Saturday. Great conversation with Chris. I mean, does that make you feel any different or more comfortable, less comfortable about this upcoming matchup on Saturday, Austin?
It doesn't make me feel any kind of way. It was just good talking to him. And, having a guy there to, I could see the excitement on his face. Like, I wish I was out there with him now too, because I think it was before the pod started. We were talking about how this is almost like a vacation while he's working. He said he's going to go and do like a vlog, and he's going to go around the city and show all the things. And then he may even go to the zoo. Yeah, do some golfing. And I'm like, man, like, I wish I could do that for my job. That'd be nice. But no, I feel pretty confident about going into this game. And he said it too. I feel like the person who wins this is going to win the national championship. I mean, again, I'm going to knock on the wood, but it just feels like it feels different this year. Like, there's not one part of this team that I'm like a little bit, I'm really not comfortable with. I'm comfortable with the hitting. I'm comfortable with the pitching. Obviously, I'm comfortable with the coaching. Whether or not they just go out there and execute, that's on them. But I don't, it's different. It feels different, dude. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's one thing that, I've had to really talk myself into embracing is, you know, the national media said all season, Arkansas is one of the most complete teams in the country. And you've seen that throughout the year, whether it be pitching, hitting, you have a game that maybe your pitching's not up to par at what they normally do. Your hitting steps up, and vice versa. Maybe you're not hitting the ball best, but your pitching just pitches lights out with guys like Roots, Geckel, Wood, all those guys. And you're really having to embrace that now, and look at that as a positive where, a lot of Arkansas fans, it's like, you're walking on eggshells when you're saying stuff like that, because we know the history here. We know how Arkansas's luck's been from, 2018 to, the past 2 seasons in regionals and things like that. But it gets to the point of you've got to embrace, yeah, we are one of the best teams in the country. And, this team is playing like it, acting like it. You saw just the pure excitement after winning Supers last weekend, the team going through the entire concourse out to the hog pen with the trophy and just, celebrating with these fans. And, this is a team that, they're poised to, like you said, if they can come out and perform, really has that opportunity to win it all. And like you said, it's a different feeling this year. You've had, different, last year where you're like, yeah, we've got some guys we potentially can get there, but, just up to top to bottom, your pitching, your bullpen, everything. It's just it seems like everything is culminating together, and it's all going to get started on Saturday night. So,
yeah, and the thing about this is, I know he was kind of saying that he feels like LSU and Arkansas is going to be pretty similar to their last time, and I think score-wise that may be true, but you got to think about the differences in this game. I mean, whenever Arkansas played LSU, Root was not on his stuff, right?
And he still went 6 innings that game too.
And he still went 6 innings. And this is also super, super late, right? I think the was there a delay before too, or was it just in the middle of the game?
No, that was the game where it was delayed. I believe
it was delayed. It was delayed in the middle because I think it was like the 6th or 7th inning because it was Aiden Jimenez who was in there whenever it got delayed. Either way,
you're thinking of the Texas A&M series where that's what happened there. This was that series where
maybe
that you didn't have the game start till 10 o'clock at night.
Oh yeah. So it's still late, and here's the thing: that went into extra innings, right? That's with the entire LSU crowd. That's with super late extra innings. That's what it took to beat Arkansas in that first game. I'm not saying that they're not going to be extremely crazy, those LSU fans, but it's just you got half the stadium is going to be Arkansas. It's going to be a different feel, and Root is on his stuff. The lineup is batting like crazy because they did not bat like that against Tennessee the first time. Right. They kind of took it to Doyle again, but they didn't do it to the Marcus. What's his last name? Was it Phillips?
Marcus. Yeah.
Something like it starts with a P. I'm pretty sure, but they didn't do that the first game against him last time, and they just I don't know, man. It's just they're coming in hot they're coming into the College World Series hot. So I don't know. It's just a different lineup. And I made that argument against Tennessee and it was right. This is just, I don't know, man. I don't see it being the exact same. I think Arkansas, has a better time than they did the first time. And they're not going to have all those extra circumstances to get in their way. And I know that's kind of making excuses too, but it took all that plus, extra innings to beat Arkansas the first time. So I just have a little bit better feeling going into this game.
Yeah. Let's jump over and look at some of these comments real quick. Didn't get to jump into those as Chris was on, but Transplant Texan, always love to see him in here. Arkansas versus LSU is the hottest College World Series ticket this weekend. All eyes will be watching. The primetime spot on Saturday is well-deserved. WPS, I agree 100%. I think even before matchups are announced, you had no doubt that Arkansas was going to be in that Saturday night primetime spot with, the field that you had coming in. Transplant text and all says if Root is on and the bats back him up, no way the Hogs lose. And also, saying the Hogs didn't get to Omaha to come out of the losers bracket. They're there to kind of come in and, show up and do their thing. I'm just saying, jumps in here and says the park and the matchup does favor LSU. Gorilla Ball won't necessarily get it done for Saturday. So Root's going to have to be on his A game. Root is going to have to come out to play. And I think, like you said, that Gorilla Ball, that park's hard to hit balls out. So, Arkansas is really going to have to lean on, the guys like Davlon, Kozel, and Maxwell, and guys that can put the ball in play, hit those singles, doubles, because that's what you're going to have to do in this ballpark to win some games is you're going to have to go out there and play that small ball. And we've seen Arkansas do that this year. We've seen that a few times this year. Of course, Arkansas historically is known for, and you've seen it some this year on, having a lot of long balls that really help, in the games. And, that is the case. But with this ballpark, and like Chris mentioned, the wind was blowing in today. So it's going to be really tough depending on weather and things like that on if you're going to be able to hit out of this park or not. And so, that's where some of these guys are going to have to really come to play and be able to, hit the ball into the gaps, hit the ball down the line, and not just worry about putting the ball over the wall. So, like I'm just saying, says Davlon and Logan Maxwell are going to be keys to the offense, getting rolling as they have been. And another guy too, I think is going to be key is Ryder Helfrich. You've seen him really come on these last few weeks of the season, what he's done. It's like Transplant Text and says this following comment. Helfrich's been hot as late. His battle need to play a key role in the win. But I think also what's going to be big for him is, that relationship he has with the pitchers and, how he calls these games. That's going to be, big, with that's one big difference with Arkansas compared to a lot of other programs around the country. Ryder Helfrich is one of, probably the few catchers in college baseball that, he calls his own games. He could have Matt Hobbs over that might override him every now and then, but he's one of those catchers, you notice it on his knee pad. He has a little controller that, signals what pitches the pitcher's going to throw. And, I think that's big to see that. And that's a lot of trust these coaches put in a catcher. And, that's why it makes you're coming to Arkansas to play a catcher. Well, you better be, comfortable in that type of situation. So.
Yeah, and I mean, whenever you get to the big leagues, that's what they do anyway. So it's just better preparing going forward. But yeah, I feel the same with that. And I think one of the most underappreciated parts of this lineup is probably the last three, like the caboose of the lineup,
the caboose game.
Yeah, and they get what is it? Robinson, Iredale, and JT. I'm pretty sure it's Iredale. But still, like, I think JT is I think Arkansas has the best.
Yeah, it's Iredale, Robinette, and JT.
Yeah, I think Arkansas has the best leadoff hitter, and I think in the country, and I think they probably have the best 9-hole hitter in the country. Not necessarily that he's got, an amazing stat line or anything, but he just comes in clutch when he needs to, right?
Those
he either gets a walk
hits,
or
like Chris
those timely hits. And then, it's just, I mean, he's a 9-hole guy hitting like 285. I mean, it's good stuff. And having that, continue through this College World Series, I think you got to have it too, because that's just one extra step that you have on top of everything else. And, if the bottom of your lineup's hitting good, guess who's going to come in right after them? The top of the lineup. If they start hitting, I mean, it's just that snowball effect. So, I don't know, man. I am pretty superstitious when it comes to baseball just because there's just so much luck that goes on with it. So it's hard for me to say that, but I just do feel different about this team and about this College World Series.
Yeah. Pigpen jumps in here. Glad to see you back in here. Said maybe night one breaks the attendance record. Wouldn't be surprising whatsoever to see that happen. with these two teams, your primetime slot, Saturday night, 6 o'clock, Omaha, you got that nice dusk setting. It would be fantastic, to see that crowd be electric and amplified and these two teams going at it. Transplant Texas said, good guess, but the Hawgs will break his bracket. Love to see that. I'm just saying, said he's a pro LSU. Please bring him back after this weekend. LOL. For sure,
Hey,
100%.
I was already giving him crap before this started. I was like, hey, what's up with those picks, man? I even said, I was like, are you picking them so the Hawks will win, or what are you doing? So no, Chris is a good guy, and he really tries to pick the winners of each, and he follows all the sports, right? He doesn't just do baseball. Actually, I'm pretty sure he was I meant to ask him before we started, but I'm pretty sure he was at the Tennessee game when Arkansas beat Tennessee, and he had his vlog going out on the field too. So I mean, he's a good guy. He loves SEC sports. Let's just put it that way. And he doesn't. I don't think he really has a huge loyalty to any one team necessarily. We didn't get to ask him about his fandom, but still, it's like he's a pretty good guy, and he's just doing what he thinks is right, even though it's wrong. Everybody's wrong every once in a while.
Exactly. Transplant Texan coming in here saying, Hogs are the most complete team, highest ranked in the College World Series, but still not a lot to win it at all in the eyes of other media personalities. I mean, and that's just what you get for being an Arkansas fan. The media, you never can. It's very rare that you're going to hear the media say something nice about Arkansas. No matter what broadcast it is, what sport I'm watching, who the announcers are, it doesn't matter. They're going to try to pump up that other team as much as possible and try their hardest not to say something good about Arkansas.
Yeah. The thing with baseball, saying any baseball team is a lock to win a national championship, I don't care how close you get to it. I mean, look how close Arkansas was the last time they were in the College World Series final. I mean, whenever you saw that pop up, everyone's like, Arkansas is a lock. And guess what? They were not. So it's hard to say a lock with any team in baseball, because it's random almost. Like you do what you can to hedge your bets, I guess. But at the same time, sometimes the ball just doesn't carry. Sometimes, it just comes off the bat weird and you lose a game. So it's what it is.
Transplant Texan still says, though, Hogs won their regionals and supers in fewest games possible. They will win the College World Series the same way. ... It's their destiny.
Ooh, going undefeated through the postseason, that would be sick. Yeah.
Talk about that storybook ending like we was talking about. It would be insane. I'm just saying, comes in here and says, he was just kidding about him saying for LSU, he's impartial. I've seen him on the other show, solid guy. He's still in for a lesson this weekend, though. But
I hope you're right, Pat.
So Saturday night, 6 o'clock, LSU, Arkansas, and that game one for both teams in the College World Series. That's going to be electric. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be. I think that game holds a lot of weight, like we all said, and I think all the national media across the country kind of agree that more than likely the odds for whoever wins this game is going to be in the title game. Feels like a good way to hedge your bets, and I mean, I agree. I'd love for it, and of course, Arkansas doing that would be great. But if you look at these two teams compared to the rest of the teams in the field, it just seems they have a leg up. I mean,
yeah, and it's just like he was saying, it's just a weird year because Murray State making the College World Series, and then Louisville making the College World Series. That's some crazy stuff. And they're both good stories, but at the same time, it's just honestly, Murray State had the harder path to the College World Series. Louisville went and beat Vanderbilt, and then on the other side of their bracket, they had Southern Miss, kind of, crap the bed over there. So they had Miami. So they haven't really had a whole lot of competition to get to this point. So when they play, I guess it's Oregon State over there. When they play Oregon State, it's probably not going to look good. I don't think it's going to be a nice experience for them. And I think Murray State, they've got a really good offense. And if they get hot, they get hot. But at the same time,
it's that you've got to have the pitching depth.
You got to have the pitching depth to make it all the way to the final, right? And in UCLA, they're not bad, but I think they're a step above what Murray State is. So I don't see them going. I don't see them winning. Like I'm with Chris. I think they're probably 0-2 and out. And then it's just a different. I don't want to say. I don't know. Category of ball teams whenever you think about LSU and Arkansas, and then whenever you think of UCLA this year.
They're great for a West Coast team.
Yeah. I mean, Oregon State is still probably the number one team on the West Coast, but still it's just, I don't know, man. It's so hard to not, believe in this because really I think the biggest roadblock they have right now is LSU, and they're most likely going to have to play them twice, or 3 times. Because I'm not like Trent Texan. I think Arkansas is probably going to lose at least 1 or 2 games to get to a national championship. It's just incredibly hard to go undefeated. So if Arkansas loses his first game, I don't think you guys should worry. Like Chris was saying, they have the pitching depth, a better pitching depth than anybody else in this tournament. So I wouldn't worry about it. Same time, you got to win this first game too to feel safe, right? And
like Arkansas I said, I'm on that boat of you got to win this first game at all costs. Yeah. If that means if Root's not on, pitching Geckel, pitching Wood, pitching Bottle Cheese. Whoever it takes. I mean, like Chris said, to an extent, yes, but you don't want to go crazy and use 8, 9 different pitchers in this game. But out of your key guys, you want to use who you need to get the job done, and that's only half the battle too. Yeah, if you can get the battle done pitching, but there's still a guy on the other side, Cade Anderson, that you still got to figure out how to hit and run him off the mound like you did Doyle. So
right. And, and the thing is, Anderson has a much better off-speed pitch than Doyle does. I mean, Doyle, he's just a fastball guy, basically. And Arkansas is good at hitting fastballs. It's those off-speed pitches where they actually start to, dive off. So, yeah. I don't know, man. There'll be something. If Root can be on his game, I think they'll probably do fine. Because, yeah, the only time Arkansas has been completely destroyed in a game this year was that game 2 against LSU. So I don't want to go into this game.
Cade Anderson.
Right. It wasn't. Yeah. And let's be real. I mean, it was more or less the bats just not showing up too. And then it kind of spiraled from there.
Well, I mean, when you played a game that ended at 1-something in the morning the night before,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do that, but I mean, LSU did.
Yeah.
But I was joking about how, they're used to being up all night partying over there because it's just a party school. So, but still, that's why I'm not completely confident like I was against Tennessee, is because they are the only team that's done that to Arkansas. So, yeah, exactly. It's going to be fun. I think it'll be a game kind of, back and forth, but I think Arkansas probably has the advantage going into this one.
Yeah. And it's like Chris said, these 2 teams are probably destined to play each other at some point. It just happens to be, the first game of the World Series. But like my wife says here, it feels so unfair that we got Tennessee in Supers, and now in the first game of the World Series, you're having to play LSU. It is very unfortunate. It seems like everything is all the roadblocks you can find are trying to be thrown in front of Arkansas to slow them down. You get thrown in, you have to play Tennessee in Supers, and now you're having to play LSU again in the first round of the World Series. So it's like,
Do you know what would be an interesting thought? Is like whenever they get to the College World Series, to turn this into like a legitimate regional and reseed them instead of just playing in the bracket like that. So you would have again LSU and UCLA, and then Arkansas and Murray State, and go from there. I think that would be pretty cool.
to get there, and then everybody gets reseeded. So Arkansas
Right.
would be that number one. And
just because it's not exactly fair for Arkansas to be playing LSU. I mean, life's not fair, so I'm not complaining about it. But I wonder if that would be something that they would think about, because that would be
at this point in time, when everything's announced on Selection Sunday, you can map it all the way to the College World Series on who you're going to face, because they don't do any type of reseeding. So you can look at the matchups, and based off the matchups, it goes. You can almost plan out the entire route. Give or take. You're going to have some upsets and things, but who you're going to be and things like that. Razorback Hobbs joining us in the chat as he is without power over in Mississippi. He said, "Sorry guys, pitch black where I am. Arizona Coastal rematch of the 2016 College World Series final, where Coastal Carolina did win that national title that year."
Yeah, Coastal Carolina, like, I don't even know who was thinking about Coastal Carolina being a Cinderella. I mean, they're like
they
Gonzaga
have a title. I mean,
of baseball. Yeah, except when's the last time Gonzaga won a basketball title?
Fair.
So I mean, if we're thinking about that, Coastal Carolina is a better program in baseball than Gonzaga is in basketball. But so yeah, no, they're not a Cinderella. There's really not a Cinderella in this whole thing, because for me, like, a Cinderella has to have a chance to win, and I don't think like Murray State or Louisville have a chance. So
yeah. Hobbs agrees here. Whatever it takes to beat LSU in game one. Lost in extras earlier in the season. I agree. I think that is the consensus. You pitch whoever you need, whatever it takes to get the job done in that game one, to get that 1-0 spot as you go into the next few games in the, as Chris mentioned, the regional type format. So 6:00 on Saturday. Everybody get ready to tune in. It is going to be fantastic. Staying in the baseball realm. Yes, we're talking about the World Series. We are talking about Omaha. But you still have some transfer portal action happening. That's still going on. Guys are there's only 8 teams that their season is still going on. So that leaves all the other teams across the country, guys to enter the portal and whatnot and thing like that. So, one of the first moves Arkansas makes is, an in-state movement, and they go down and, just pick up Little Rock's ace from this past season to come join the staff next year. Jackson Wells from Little Rock is coming up to Arkansas, right-handed pitcher, played for the Trojans last year. He helped the Trojans go on a Baton Rouge regional run, that caught the nation by storm, forced the extra games in that Baton Rouge regional, and helped Little Rock to, its best finish in program history, winning 8 of their final 10 games, to get in this tournament. Highlight of his individual career in 2023, he led the nation with the lowest ERA, 1.65, just ahead of first overall pick in 2024, National League Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens, at 1.69. So, he's a guy that he's a good arm, and in 3 seasons at Little Rock, he appeared in 47 games, 46 of them starts, 3 were complete outings, striking out 245 batters, walking 105, and 244 in a third innings. In 2025, he posted a 3-8 record with a 5.36 ERA, 35 walks, 97 strikeouts in 87 in a third. So, you're getting a guy that was their ace this year coming into this Arkansas lineup next year. You're going to have to replace some guys. That's very clear, with what you've seen. So, Arkansas starting out and going in state and, just going a little bit south to Central Arkansas. So,
yeah, and they've got a few guys who are leaving already too. I'm pretty sure there's some freshmen that are
The one
hitting
for
the
sure
portal.
I've seen, it was Tag Andrews, and he was a pitcher.
So I have. So one of my guys, Jackson. I cannot remember his last name at this moment, but one of my guys that he does mostly baseball. He's got Jackson Farrell, left-handed guy, a lefty Luke Williams, righty Ross Fielder, and then Tag Andrews, all hitting the portal. So, and I'm pretty sure all of them freshmen. Maybe not, but none of them got any playing time this year. So,
yeah, and that's not surprised. It's like you're going to see guys come and go throughout the season. It's it's just the name of the game nowadays. So that's what's you're just going to see it everywhere. It's not Arkansas that it's going to happen to. So, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, this program, they just built this program. You know, they lose guys every year. It's not nothing against the guys, but there a lot of time, you know, you see these guys go to some smaller schools. They may still have some success, but you know, at the end of the day, maybe they weren't necessarily cut out for, you know, SEC and what it takes at that level of play. But, you know, best of luck to those guys wherever they go. I saw rumors about Tag Andrews potentially going to Kansas State. So, you know, jumping over to the Big 12. So who knows?
Yeah. And, you know, it's just hard to get into the rotation with this bullpen. So it's not surprising to see a lot of those pitchers leave at the end of the year when they don't get anything.
Yeah, especially because like you have guys in the Arkansas bullpen this year that more than likely could be starters next year. So you're having to compete against that. So it's like, you know, if you're a freshman and you haven't seen any playing time, or hardly any playing time, it really makes it tough to decide to stick it out and, you know, maybe wait for your chance, if you will. But
yeah, and it's not like Arkansas hasn't benefited from the portal too. I mean, like Zach Root, he's the portal guy. Logan Maxwell, I mean, he's the one who ended Arkansas season last year. So
I was about to say, and then you go out and, you know, for the most part of the year, 2 of your 3 in your starting rotation, Zach Root, Landon Battle Cheese, were transfers as well.
Right. So it gives and it takes. It's just like any other sport. So
yeah. Hobbs says big time that in-state pickup, just get you all in the fields.
Yeah.
And so jump over to some quick basketball news before we wrap up. You know, we are a little bit over an hour here, but Arkansas got a surprise, you know, from my perspective, a surprise pickup today in the world of basketball. And that comes in terms of Arkansas picks up the Bosnian center, Elmer Zafik from Bosnia, 7 foot, 265 Euro big man, is heading to play for Arkansas next season. And to what extent, I don't know. But, I mean, I think this came to the surprise for a lot of people. You know, this is going to be Coach Cal's second Euro player in as many classes. You know, we had Big Z last year. Now, you know, you're bringing in, as Transplant Texan said here, the Bosnian bulldozer, or so he's being coined. A guy to come in, you know, help add to that depth of, you know, Trevor Brazile, Malik Ewan, Nick Pringle, you know, another guy to help depth-wise. Don't know how much he'll play. He is 19 coming in. He played for the under-18 European Championship division, which he made his reputation of being a force in the paint, averaged a double-double in that championship division, scoring 13.2 points per game, pulling down 10.4 rebounds a game, along with dishing out 1.6 assists. He did have limited time playing professionally for the KK Bosna in the Adriatic League second division. He did average 2.2 points and 1.2 rebounds per game, but that was in a limited stint with them. He's a guy that, you know, maybe he'll be a little bit more built than what you saw out of a guy like Big Z last year. Love Big Z, love what he did, but to compete in the SEC, if he is the so-called Bosnian bulldozer, I like the sound of that for a guy coming in to help give Arkansas some depth there.
Yeah, actually, I'm just saying. He tagged me in some highlights of him whenever I let them know that, hey, I think this guy is going to commit before it happened. So they were looking, and he tagged me in that, and I'm like, this is a European big that actually plays like a big. I like that. So no, whether or not he's going to ever crack the starting lineup, I don't know. But one of the things I've been worried about this basketball team going into next season is the depth on the front court. I mean, we saw that last year, and how many times were we holding our breath because two of the bigs were had 4 fouls with like 10 minutes left in the game, and it significantly changed how they had to play defense. So having someone that, well, one, I mean, he's a massive dude, and two, has played at a higher level like that, even though it's overseas. I say like, overseas basketball is anything to, laugh about. Most of the people in the NBA who are, the stars are European. So, I don't know. I think it's a very solid pickup. And maybe he can turn into something better, once maybe next season or whatnot, but I don't
It
know.
depends on how well he transitions to college basketball and the flow of the game.
And I tell you what, dude, he's got the frame for it. Like, if you look at Big Z, the dude, he's like what you would think of as someone who's a 7-footer, tall, lanky, all that kinds of stuff. But this guy, Sapphic, he's built like, and he's kind of solid. He doesn't have necessarily the long arms like Big Z does, but he also looks more like a Nick Pringle, if you will. Not nearly as big. Nick Pringle is a solid human being, but Sapphic, he's kind of got that frame. And if they can put him in the weight room and get him on a meal plan and get him some muscle, I mean, the dude could probably do pretty good. And the thing is, he's not just like over there, just sitting in the paint and waiting for the ball or anything like that. He's got some moves too. He kind of reminds me of what's his name, Jalen Graham, but thicker and more aggressive.
I like
it.
And
just a little bit that I've seen. I haven't seen a whole lot of them.
Right. There's a lot of film study to dive into, but like Transplant Tex said, you kind of hit on it too. If nothing else, he should be able to rebound and give you five good fouls as a backup at the end of the day. Yeah.
True. And
I'm just saying, said he's a dude and he'll fit right in the SEC.
The thing is, I don't think that's the only European that they're going after too. So,
well, and we already have the kid from Lebanon as well.
Yeah,
on the roster.
So what's his name? John Calipari is taking a note out of Dave Van Horn's playbook, going overseas to get all these people. Like,
right.
Davalon's from, well, I guess that's not overseas, but Davalon's from Canada,
Hawaii, Australia. Yeah.
Well, technically Hawaii is part of the United States, but it's basically,
there's a sea in between.
Yeah. So yeah,
looks like we got cool. Hobbs joining us via voice. He is in the stream with audio only. Hobbs, how's it going down there in Mississippi? You there, Hobbs?
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh boy, here we go. Oh man, pitch blackness where I'm at, but you know what? Well, you know what's not black? The future of the Hall baseball program. LSU. Let me tell y'all something. This team is on fire, and what's going to happen Saturday night is the biggest game. Like, just think about it. When you look at the 3 games beforehand, like, let's think about it. Coastal, Arizona, rematch of 2016. Hey, that's pretty cool. Cool story, whatever. Oregon State, Louisville, they haven't really like, shocked anybody. So it wouldn't surprise me if they don't really show up very well in this tournament. I really see them going 2-0 if I'm really being honest with you. And then you see before us Murray State, who's been a dark horse, beating Ole Miss, and then Duke, and then they're playing who they playing UCLA, who's pitched really well in this tournament, but haven't really played anybody. And then you go to Saturday night, and you're like, you got LSU and Arkansas, and it's like there's not really a game that really pops out at you until those two play each other. So it's really going to be a crazy night, and it's one of those games where you look at the Friday night series. Like, I know everybody keeps talking about LSU beat Arkansas in a series in Baton Rouge, but I watched the highlights earlier today, and it was an extra inning game, and honestly, Arkansas was up 4-2 in the seventh inning, and then they brought Aiden Jimenez in, and the wheels kind of fell off at that point, and that really hadn't happened to Aiden this entire year. So I really think when you look at it, Arkansas could have won that series on the road. And I don't understand. My thing is, we looked at this last weekend with Tennessee coming to town, and they had all this confidence coming into Fayetteville. And I'm like, why do you have so much confidence? I don't understand how you have so much confidence when you've already been beaten 2 out of 3 times. And LSU, I'm thinking the same thing. Arkansas, the only way that Arkansas loses baseball games right now this season is if they beat themselves. So I don't understand how their opponents have so much confidence. And I'm looking forward to when the opponent realizes that, oh shit, we messed up, because let me tell you something. If we're not holding this trophy up by the end of next weekend, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, it really seems that way. I mean, and I think it is the consensus, like we talked about earlier. Chris said, and I think a lot of the country said, is, more than likely we'd love for it to be Arkansas, but the winner of this game is going to have a spot in the
College World
finals,
Series
more than likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and even if you look at just say, for instance, let's talk about worst case scenario. If we lose Saturday night and then we have to play Monday afternoon or whatever against Murray State or UCLA, and we beat them, and then we have to beat UCLA or LSU twice, you're looking at LSU having to use their 2 best pitchers. After that, they really don't have a whole lot in the tank. And really, with us, there's a lot of weapons in the bullpen that we have that people don't really understand that we have. Like, I'm talking about like a Will McIntyre that closed the series out against Tennessee in the regular season, and has an under 3 ERA in the regular season this year. So it's not like he's a scrub and hasn't really pitched well this year. And also he's shown that he can pitch in the College World Series, where he shut down Auburn beforehand 3 years ago. And then you've got multitude of guys like Dylan Carter and stuff like that. It really ain't pitched in a while. So for me, it's like we can afford to lose the game. I'm not really sure that any of the other 3 teams in our bracket can afford to lose the game. So I'm telling you, if there was a year that you can feel confident, and I understand you want to knock on wood and you want to, say, hey, we've been here before and we've not catched a foul ball, but really this team, the offense that we have it travels. So you have to be confident in the team that we have. You're not going to find a pitching staff that can shut this offense down a full 9 innings. You're really not going to find that. So if you're asking me, as long as our pitchers do what they're supposed to do, I just don't really see anybody beating us twice. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. And it's like I'm just saying, it says here, you mentioned the highlights of that game against LSU. They screwed Root when Reese was ruled to have his foot over the plate. When he scored in the second, he was safe, and then they let LSU off the hook. The Hogs are going to blow it open. So, yeah, it's going to be an exciting game. I'm ready to watch it. Saturday night, it's Omaha is going to be rocking. Going to be probably more than likely a lot of LSU fans there, equally as a lot of Arkansas fans there. And it is going to be one of the probably most tuned in opening games of the weekend to see, watch for anybody that loves college baseball and the game. So, fantastic stuff there. We'll get kind of ready to wrap up here. I mean, Hobbs without power over there. How's everything else going?
I mean, other than not being able to see a whole lot besides the candlelight, it's all good. But what we play in about 48 hours, so
give or take, yes.
Yeah, it's it's one of the things where I've talked about this all year long about regionals, about winning the first two games are crucial. If you lose the first game against LSU, you got to win 4 in a row. The good thing about winning 4 in a row in the College World Series, though, is you don't have to play every day. Like, for example, if we lose Saturday,
you won't play again until Monday at 1.
Right, we don't play until Monday afternoon, and then I think we turn around and play Wednesday night again. It's one of them things where winning the World Series is not as important to win the first 2 games, but it's still important because you get in the driver's seat is always good. But I really think that this is the type of game where it's going to come down to who gets the timely hit. Who's going to feel the ball the best, and we feel the best of anybody in the country. So hopefully it's us, but you got to have the baseball gods in your favor at this time of the year. So,
yeah.
But hey, may the best man win. It's going to be one of those games where you're up late at night Saturday and you're going to be a nervous wreck, and every pitch is going to be, oh my God, let's hope and pray. That's really what you're looking at.
Yeah. Quick thoughts from you, Hobbs, on the Arkansas pickup of Jackson Wells from Little Rock.
Oh man, I loved it. I saw that last night, and I watched him pitch against LSU this in the regionals, and when you get a competitor like that, an in-state player, it's just huge, man. Like, he reminds me of Gage Wood, just the type of player, Arkansas native, and just that's just huge for us. And I tweeted that last night how cool that was, and of course I see the comments about, oh, he's got a 5-something ERA. I don't care about that. I care less about ERA stats or whatever. I know what I saw in the regional against LSU, and I saw a fighter. So a guy that had a 2-something ERA in 2023. So if you give me that and you give me the stuff he has and you give me Matt Hobbs, give me Jackson Wells all day, because the development we can make that guy into, I'll take him all day.
Exactly. So fantastic stuff there. We're going to get ready to wrap up here. Before we get out of here, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show on YouTube at Hogs on the Hill. Hit that like and subscribe button and hit that bell. That way, when we go live, you won't miss it. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. All our social media channels. Go check out Facebook, Instagram, X, most active on there. But 6:00 Saturday, Arkansas will be getting things underway with LSU, and we'll be right back here on Sunday to kind of talk about it. Hopefully we're talking about, all right, who's Arkansas matching up with on this winter side of the bracket between UCLA and Murray State. So fantastic things. Anything out of you, Austin or Hobbs, before we get out of here and get ready for this game on Saturday?
No, not really. I was going to talk a little bit about the house settlement, but we're already an hour and 20 minutes into it, so we'll go on
Sunday.
And yeah, Sunday, and that stuff changes. It's changed like 2 or 3 times since the last episode. So
Yeah.
I'll make sure to hit that earlier in this in the episode.
Right. Like Transplant Text said, like, subscribe, and choose all the notifications.
Sure.
But with that, we're going to get out of here. Everybody have a great Friday. Get ready for Arkansas baseball on Saturday, and we'll be right back here with you guys on Sunday to talk about what happens on Saturday night and looking forward to the rest of the College World Series. But with that, from Hobbs, Austin, myself, we're going to get out of here, and we'll see you guys on Sunday.